Now, Bloom's taxonomy is available on Google. It's just a click away. What I can bring in as a researcher and teacher trainer is maybe how to use it in the language class. Because the way that we use Bloom's taxonomy in English is not necessarily the same way that we would use it in biology or in civil engineering. Now, Bloom's taxonomy is to the educator what a compass is to a navigator, meaning that it shows and indicates to the sailor the direction to follow in the course of a journey to a destination. Now, that destination in the classroom metaphor is what? Is the objective that you want to reach. Maybe you want to know what skills, what competence, what ability you want your learners to display at the end of a lesson. Okay? Now, Bloom's taxonomy is, even though it is a misnomer, because when you talk about Bloom's taxonomy, we seem to identify to one person. Actually, it relates to a group of researchers who back in the 1950s was commissioned by the United States Education Department to work out ways of improving learning and education in the country. So Bloom was just the head of the commission. Now, there is one Bloom's taxonomy and another one that was revised later in 2001. But they both boil down to the same thing. If you take, for example, the initial original taxonomy, they both have 6 levels. In Bloom's original taxonomy of the 1950s, we have, for example, the first level of cognitive level is knowledge, comprehension, application. That's what we call a low order thinking skill. I'm going to come back to that later on. And the second level, the HOTS, meaning the high order thinking skills, are analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. As for the revised taxonomy, they prefer to use verbs, for example, to remember, to understand, to apply. The second level would be to analyze, to evaluate, and to create. Now, creating here meaning being able to solve problems as well. Okay? So it's the highest order thinking skill. Now, Bloom's taxonomy is organized in an incremental gradation. That is, the second level includes the first level. Meaning, if you are, for example, if you know something, the rule of a language, for example, let's say the present perfect or the irregular verbs, okay? You have to show that you understand it. That is, when you see it somewhere, you can identify it. And then you should be able to apply it. Now, when you apply it, it means that you already, evidently, it's obvious that you know it and you understand it. Now, can you use it to analyze? Can you use it to synthesize? Can you use it to evaluate? That's what it comes down to. The way that we use Bloom's taxonomy, it may be a little bit confusing for young teachers or teachers who have not been trained, because Bloom's taxonomy has not been used in our educational system, at least as far as English is concerned, only these past 6 or 7 years. I myself started teaching it at École Normale Supérieure, let's say 6 or 7 years ago. But before that, I'm not aware that anybody introduced Bloom's taxonomy. So when we say, for example, let's take analysis. You might like to wonder, what does analysis imply in a language class? Analysis will imply in a language class the following thing. For example, if I give you a sentence in a given context, an incomplete sentence, I ask you to complete that sentence. Let me give you an example. If I say, for example, if you had not left the door unlocked, comma, and I ask you to complete the sentence. Now, to complete that sentence, you have to be able to relate, to find the logical connection between the subordinate clause and the main clause to come. The subordinate clause being, if you hadn't left the door open or unlocked, what would have happened? Okay? Now here the learner will have to apply his knowledge of the language, his comprehension of the situation, and the application of the rules of grammar that would apply here, meaning the conditional form. And also draw the logical connection between leaving the door unlocked and the consequences of leaving that door unlocked. You see? And in the process, the learner will be obligated to produce discourse. That's why when I submitted this activity to me, separating Bloom's Taxonomy and communicative language teaching, I said, okay, but this separation is not possible. All right, because when I explain Bloom's Taxonomy in terms of analysis, I'm going to go into CLT, because the completion of this sentence, if you had not left the door unlocked, will induce the production of discourse. And the production of discourse in context of a situation that you understand is what we call CLT. CLT means simply the ability to produce, to comprehend the situation, to produce discourse in relation to a context of situation. Now, producing discourse meaning what? Being able to produce something that is syntactically correct, that is grammatically correct, and that is logically well connected.